Yes, welcome to the Jamaica Young Police channel. We are here to deliver part 2 to the reign of the Donovan Bulbie Bennett against Papa San's family, in which Donovan Bulbie Bennett dirtied 2 of Papa San's brothers, namely Dirtsman and Gravel. But what most of you did not know, because you know the media in Jamaica, they don't report on certain things, and even the police, you know what they haven't told you? That Donovan Bulbie Bennett was a big time pung guy, or better words, the man was a proper rear admiral. So a lot of you is going to learn that now. Yes. So that is one of the main reasons why I call the PMP party, in which a former member of parliament who was a part of the PMP LGBTQ plus party, Edda Robinson, she herself, labeled the PMP party, in the 90s, as a criminal organization, the political party, that she was a part of in parliament, So you're going to learn all these things, because these things, that the media in Jamaica, they hide it from the people. Because, as they say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Remember this, the truth. The people who refuse to accept the truth and call the truth a lie, they are criminals. Let me repeat it. Those who know the truth and call it a lie are criminals. So, you're going to hear how Donovan Bennett, Bulbie, force a PMP LGBTQ plus member of parliament to resign from parliament, Miss Edda Robinson, then a member of the ruling People's National Party, a parliamentarian for St. Catherine Southern, because the Prime Minister P.J. Patterson and the hierarchy of the PMP LGBTQ plus party was in bed with this most wanted man in Jamaica. The reason why the MP left representational politics is that she labeled the PMP LGBTQ plus party back then as a criminal organization. Not my word, Is that's what she labeled them as a criminal organization, as they did nothing to rein in this man, but to give him coverage by placing their police lackeys. So you see, I always tell you, no criminal organization or corrupt politician cannot be successful without corrupt police officers. This is a member of parliament, who's telling the Jamaican people back then, through her columns that she used to write, that it was the PMP party bigwigs, who was behind the funding of the Klansman gang. And because she refused to endorse this man, this criminal, to say he's the island Don for the PMP party, she have to, every time when she go my police affairs escort her home, she was living like a prisoner in Jamaica, and it's her government in power. So to show you how the PMP party, it hasn't changed, because I am from the belly of the beast, Jonestown. And if you notice, even right now in Jamaica, there's no bipartisan ship with the PMP to help the GLP government to root out crime in Jamaica. No, they are not into that, because that's not their mantra. That is not within their DNA, because they love criminals, So they make sure that every time they put, so all the police officers that were in St. Catherine at Spanish Town before Bulbie was killed, they were all placed there to protect him. Let me repeat myself. right up to the day that BULBIE was killed, before that superintendent was sent, before every superintendent before, they were placed there at Spanish Town to protect BULBIE and the gang. And if you want to know, you just let me know, put in the comments and I'll tell you. Because I used to work with a detective corporal named Ludlow Mort. You understand, they call him Denny in Spanish Town. Ludlow Mort was my team leader at Unsby. Brave police, bad police. And Ludlow Mort told me some things about some police officer that Jamaican people celebrate and revere, or them a crime fighter. Garbage. Criminals. They were making crazy money from the Klansman gang, because these police officers believe that the business community is supposed to be taking care of them. Just like how you have heard the people who live overseas and they have to be paying money to these people every year, and even when they are retired, they have to give all the police officers retirement packages, and then they in return will over the dons, the hustlers who live overseas to their friends in the police force. And that's why these people call. You understand? And you understand? And hey, look, the next, if you guys want to know all these police officers that if one of them who's right now a senior superintendent of police, I receive a recording of him having conversation with a criminal in Ohio. And the criminal send the because he's tired, and he says he's not going to jump because he wants it out there. Because the thing is that now he think that by sending it to me, I'm going to he wants me to distort his voice and stuff like that. But I told him, I said, look, if I even distort your voice, he's still going to know it's you, because you are the one that he have the conversation with. So he said, boy, pretend as if it legal. I said, you cannot pretend, because it was both of you, and he know that he's not the one that released it, so it has to be you, so you have to protect you. So that's why I didn't release it. He wanted me to release it, and you'd hear the senior officer on the phone telling the man what to bring for him and stuff like that. So I am telling the man. So the commanding officer now at Spanish Town, so they make sure they send, thus giving the Klansman gang autonomy to continue their lifestyle of heightening the fear into the hearts of residents. The only police officer who was the commanding officer to have ever served in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, gave a fact statement about Donovan BULBIE Bennett after he was killed. And he was transferred immediately to Mobile Reserve. You're gonna hear that in this video, and it's not gonna, everything is not gonna just come up. You have to be patient. Thus ending his career. Yes, and to all my men babies, I know a lot of you and them things. I don't know if it's bingo bag you guys wear, or are you guys it's because of that time of the month. But look, this over here is not for men babies. So I don't want you guys with your trolling and you're complaining and what about that. All we're doing over here is telling the truth. I am not here playing no side. I am just here to tell the truth. We know who is responsible for the crime situation in Jamaica. And we're not blaming one side, you understand? But we are telling you about what they have done and caused all the problems that is going on right now. You understand? So, men babies who do not like to hear the truth, please go elsewhere with your trolling. Because we have zero tolerance of trollers. You are going to hear how the PNP LGBTQ plus government then has turned a good citizen into a thug. That was Papa San. By him resort to traveling with an illegal gun, because his two brothers were dirtied by the Klansman gang, and he was next. He had done everything right in the eyes of the law, and they had labeled the family as a threat to their political dominance in De La Vega City. They deny his gun permit application. imagine that two of your brothers were dirtied by men from this PMP LGBTQ plus gang. And the government, who is the PMP LGBTQ plus government, left you to be out there without any form of protection. You are going to hear how a superintendent of police, Harry Bungles daily, whose playbook of using artists in Jamaica with the promise of giving them a firearm license. And the only thing that he has done is to work with these artists at his stage shows and never fulfill his promises until the artists decide enough is enough and stop allowing him to use them. Then he denied them the gun license, the gun permit, because he had the power to. That was one of his tactics, and I knew of a lot of his victims because I was at BULBIE with bongos. So we continue the journey. You listen, you watch, and you decide.
Just before Christmas, I think it was the 21st.
Yeah, that was a hard lick for me because, you know, my blood brother and things like that. Never expected that to happen. And that really floored me.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, it's totally knocked me out. Cold. You know, never expected that to happen that kind of a way, and you know, it take a toll.
Then you lost your sister sometime after that.
Shortly.
I mean,
never long. When DJ versus singer up in Harborview, that big match that with me, Bojo, Beanie, all of us played. That's a match my sister leave and crash and died, you know.
Oh.
So I never even get over dirt at the time when that happened. You know, so it's like two blow in a short period of time that you have to deal with.
And then you lost a cousin.
My cousin
was killed by the police, I think.
Yeah, when I get hold of the gun at the time.
That was 94.
Yeah, that's, I don't remember the year, but
94, what?
Yeah, 94. That was tough too. Again, you know.
That was an next stumbling block in our journey.
An next stumbling block because you grew up in an environment that it teaches that that's a way to protect yourself. But we tried to get licensed firearm. I went to training school to training, and they didn't give it to us.
You didn't get the permit?
No.
All right. Harry Bungles. Everybody know Harry Bungles. You know, people used to see him as a cool police or a bad police, and you know, but Bungles is a man where I can tell you, Harry Bungles is not a genuine person. I used to work with him. Harry Bungles is a man who use people for his convenience. Harry Bungles, the relationship that he have with anyone, it's always it have to benefit him. And I know of a lot of entertainers in Jamaica. What Bungles have done, took their money, make promises to them to, you know, let them get them firearm license, and in the end he did not give them, and he would have them doing stage show upon stage show upon stage show, and in time they refuse. That's when, because that's what they do, you know, just use that over the artists to get maximum mileage out of them. And if they refuse to continue for him to use them, he does deny them the gun license. And I can call names because I know for a fact. I used to work at BULBIE with this man. And this man, I am telling you, Harry Bungles is a proper criminal police, just like Ox and Cowboy and them. Big time. Proper criminal police. I know that I used to work with the man, and if it's John Gaz who rescued me from under that man, you understand, because if that man did ever get a chance to hold me, I'm telling you, man. So a lot of people that these senior officers use, especially when time you're young and overzealous, and you know, you feel that you're doing work, you know, you're working, but you know, when it comes to Bungles, and they just use people. So, you know, that's.
And if your brother get killed, and you're being threatened that you're gonna get killed, cause it's a threat me get that day when I get hold of the gun, you know.
Oh.
I said, they tell me that I shouldn't go to Fort Clarence Beach for the show, cause I think I have a show the day, and they said they want to kill you too. And I said, no, I'm not going to go down like that. So I have my thing, I have it for me. My mother-in-law tell me, don't leave the house. You know, I'm going to push it and leave the day. you know, just to get myself secure a little bit more. And I was thrilled, you know, and just get ugly.
Yeah.
Just get ugly, and, you know, there's a lot of stuff that have been lost because of that.
I can imagine.
But, you know, because it's a lot, you know, but...
Because it would have limited your ability to travel for a while, I suspect.
Yeah, I was born out of Grand Cayman for 5 years. I have to go to Canada with a police record. I lost a Pepsi contract. I'm supposed to have a Pepsi commercial.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. And Sharon Burke know about all of these things, you know, because she was the manager at the time. And so a lot of opportunities, you know. The name gets smeared. They couldn't represent something with that kind of a name no more. But it never stopped the flow of concert and demands of the fans. It never stopped that.
The few years there was very, very rough.
It was tough because here you are, have a solid, I mean, I have a career. At the time, not now, one time I think it was solid. You come out of poverty. I've been touring all over the world, from Japan, all over this place, you know, and right in the middle of all of that, this happened, you know, and we just leave Curacao from a major concert, you know, because I used to go to Curacao and just work at the stadiums at the time. So the pulling of the Caribbean was extremely big at the time, you know, and the people came to the show and, you know, stuff like that, you know. So you have things set up for you that take it on another level, you know, that kind of a thing. And then this happened. It just drop a monkey wrench inside of it and just slope everything, you know. But as I said, it never stopped the demands of the fans and shows and concerts. It's just certain opportunities that could have been opened up, kind of get leaked.
We soon come around to 97 because we know so that is when the thing, but...
Yeah. And you know, the Klansman gang from Spanish Town, and the tutelage of Donovan, Bulbie, Bennett and Harry Bungles Daly, because Harry Bungles Daly was a part of camp. He's a part of Klansman, whether or not the police was want to acknowledge it or not. But I am telling you as a former detective, because I know people who was in the Klansman gang. I know James Sines very well. And you understand, but we'll soon get down there, you know, to tell you the names of the big police officers who were involved in the Klansman gang operation and who were making film. You used to make crazy money from the gang, so that's why they were able to flourish. No criminal organization could not or cannot survive and become a force as a Klansman gang without the help of the police. Yeah, so the taxi driver who plies the Elton Park route via Ensom City to Spanish Town got the name Roundwall. Yeah, so there was this taximan that plies the Spanish Town route, you know, to Elton Park, and he got the name Roundwall because Bulbie raped this man. The gunmen from Klansman gang in Spanish Town did not care about Bulbie's taste for men's rectum. Yeah, Bulbie, they didn't care about Bulbie's taste for men body. As bad man is nothing to them, because Bulbie was a cold-blooded killer, and that's what mattered to them. Bulbie, during his tenure as a wanted man for nearly 2 decades, on October 30th, 2005, Donovan Bulbie Bennett, the infamous gang leader, unmasked a decade earlier as an emergent criminal dan, was shot dead by the police just outside Clarendon community of Tanaki, near Rock River in Clarendon. Another man, who the police identify as Nathan, was shot dead at the sprawling 2-story house on the Tanaki hillside overlooking the wine in Riamina in Clarendon. So those who are fool and think that, you know, nobody knew that that was Bulbie's house, you have another guest coming, because you know, the criminals, one thing with criminals, they love to boast. You understand? Bulbie, who had been on the run since 1993, was the leader of the notorious Spanish Town-based Klansman gang. At the time, National Security Minister Dr. Peter Phillips commended the police and soldiers who participated in the Operation Kingfish campaign that led to Bennett's death. and you notice the scrap Operation Kingfish. Anything that is effective in fighting crime, they scrap it. I don't know which government scrap it, because I had left the police force then. The success was achieved by superior intelligence, the support of the public, and the determined focus of law enforcement agencies, said Phillips, who was under pressure to control violent criminality in Jamaica, where nearly 1,400 people were murdered up to October that year. The police report that Bennett, 43, and Nathan were at the Tanaki house, a large white box-shaped structure, when the security force turned up. Shortly before 5 a.m., the cops had received intelligence that the gang leader and other criminals were hiding at the premises. The police said as they approached the house, they were fired on by Bennett and his crony. During the firefight, both men were fatally shot. A .44 Desert Eagle pistol with 4 live rounds and a Ruger 9mm pistol was seized after the shooting, the police said. It was not immediately clear whether the men died in or outside the house, or whether they made an attempt to escape. Neither was it clear whether other people were at the house had escaped. Bennett's name, or more so his alias Bulbie, as well as his going-ons, came to national prominence when, so I want you to listen to this part. This is a PMP LGBTQ plus member of parliament. She's a parliamentarian, and she let the country know about this man. And you think the PMP did anything about it? Just listen. Edda Robinson, then a PMP, People's National Party parliamentarian for St. Catherine Southern, used him as a metaphor for the emerging political alliance. PJ Pattis was Prime Minister. Dr. Peter Phillips was a part of his cabinet, about whose danger she warned and from whom she told other parliamentary colleagues to stay away. In a sectorial debate, Robinson related how Bennett had sought her patronage and sponsorship to become the leading Don in Jamaica. Wow. So BULBIE want Edda Robinson to anoint him as a leading Don in Jamaica, but told the house that she was incapable of giving birth to a Don. In that regard, I am truly barren, she said. That means she can't have no criminal. She not going to support no criminal. Robinson resigned from the legislature the following year over a rift between herself and PMP councillors in her constituency regarding the kinds of people they were willing to associate with. But over years, Robinson had spoken out against political tolerance of gangs and frequently called Bennett's name as a gang leader and raided the discussion. In her newspaper column, she accused him of a raft of murders and other crimes. She had also complained about the inability of the police to catch him. After Bennett's death, the police did not give specifics of his rap sheet. Still, they said he was wanted for several murders, shooting, extortions, and other serious crimes committed in Spanish Town, Old Harbour, and Portmore in St. Catherine, and Maypen in Clarendon. The house at which Bennett was found was nearly tucked away between several hills. It boasted 7 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms, one of which was furnished with a large jacuzzi only. Most rooms were fitted with expensive, even if seemingly inexpertly collected furnitures. On the roof of the house were 3 large water tanks with a sophisticated water pump system. There was also a standby electricity generator. From either of the 2 balconies, there was a spectacular view of the Rio Mina and the plains beyond. This is the lifestyle of a king, Operation Kingfish, spokesman Sergeant Steve Brown quipped at the scene. No ordinary criminal should be living this kind of lifestyle. Tanaka Residents said they were unaware that the house belonged to Bennett. They were under the impression that a returning resident was billing it from England. You know, that's how they tell lies, you know. According to one resident who identified himself as Mitchell, the workman never saw Bennett during the construction. After construction, workmen were refused further entry to the premises, Mitchell said. Officials also launched investigation into whether Bennett formerly owned the land and the house and how they acquired. The police said at the time of his death, Bulbie wealth was estimated at over 100 million Jamaican dollars. He was the beneficiary of many contracts, even though he was a wanted man. Police also said he had involvement in more than 100 murders. The following day, his death, members of BULBIE gang and people loyal to him rioted by blocking roads in and around Spanish Town, firing on the police station, and burned t-shirts with the image of Dr. Peter Phillips. Dr. Peter Phillips is the godfather of the Klansman gang. He's the one that supplied them with endless amounts of government contracts. 2 cops were shot and injured during the rioting, and a Jamaican urban transit company bus, a motor car, and a section of the bus terminal were set on fire. Business remained closed, schools could not hold classes, and most taxi and bus operators stayed away from the old capital. Several people who had left their home to get to work and school were stranded early in the morning and had to walk back home as intermittent volleys of gunfire blazed through the town. A curfew was imposed, and section of the troubled town started 6 p.m. The area is still tense, and there are sporadic gunshots fired. Superintendent Kenneth Wade, the commanding officer in charge of St. Catherine North Police Division at the time, told the Observer, "We did not anticipate it, but irrespective of how much we had anticipated, the resources that are available to us, given what is happening in the carpet area and other places, would never be adequate," Wade said. At a news conference on November 4th, 2005, then Assistant Commissioner of Police Glenmore Hines, they call him Zippy Hines, Task Force Commander of Operation Kingfish, which was set up a year earlier to dismantle significant organized criminal gangs, said Bennett had very little or no assets in his name. According to ACP Hines, Bennett advanced his position and standing over the years by strategically positioning himself as a legitimate businessman, or a wanted man who positioned himself as a businessman. Our intelligence indicate that Bennett acquired a large fleet of motor vehicle and heavy equipment, mostly registered to other people, including family members and those willing to do his bidding. We estimate at the time of his death, Bennett owned over 80 motor vehicles. These include Toyota Coaster buses, motor cars, sports utility vehicles, trucks, heavy-duty equipment. As a result of his direct investment in heavy-duty equipment, Bennett became deeply involved in construction and haulage, not only in St. Catherine, but other parishes as well. Hines said Bennett had been the one don of the Klansman gang, headquartered in De La Vega City, Spanish Town, since May 12, 1993, after wresting the leadership from Derek Puppy Strings Eccleston, whom he murdered. Bennett established an elaborate extortion racket which preyed on local business interests in both central St. Catherine and south central St. Catherine. Not even taximen operated in these areas were spared, ACP Hines said, explaining both Bennett's modus operandi and source of his wealth. Most Klansman members did not know Bennett by either face or voice, Hines said. Most time, only a selected cadre of trusted members knew where he was. He said that the leader of the highly organized, ruthless Klansman gang. Bennett became very sophisticated, directing his gang members from isolated location. Gang members, however, knew their leader was not to be crossed, and his instruction must be carried out to the last detail. Failure to comply would inevitably lead to the death of other gangland punishment. Also speaking at the news conference, Police Commissioner Lucius Thomas said he and the Police High Command supported an observation by Superintendent Kenneth Wade that the PMP had supported the Klansman gang and BULBIE over the years. For the superintendent to speak the way that he had spoken, he would have been armed with information and intelligence to give him that authority to stand up and speak the way he did, Thomas said. We have seen over the years a relationship between organized crime, politics, drugs, and other areas. I am not here to point to a political party of whatsoever color, but indeed there is politics in organized crime, the commissioner said. You have to remember now, Lucius Thomas is a PMP LGBTQ plus activist in uniform in the police force. And the reason why I'm telling you that, there was a detective corporal. His birth name is Michael Rollbottom. That's his birth name. He's a part of the PMP LGBTQ plus party, and because he was involved in the Brigadista program, you know, where he traveled to Russia and Cuba and all those places to train. Then he depoled his name and named himself Winston Meleda. He has no relationship with the Meledas. I knew this when I was a detective at Huntsby, that this man was a PMP LGBTQ plus activist. He was dismissed from the police force whilst he was at training school because the intelligence had came up that this man was aligned with the PMP LGBTQ plus party involved in criminality. So he was kicked out of the police force. At the time, Michael Manley was Prime Minister. And guess what? It's Lucius Thomas who returned that same man. And that man even got promotion in the police force to detective corporal. And there's no other police officer or detective had spent the amount of years that he had spent at Olympic Garden police station, because he was sent there by the PMP government. Years until he was transferred to Denham Town and he migrated to America. So when it comes down to the police involved in shady things and doing corrupt things, because if all things being said, Meleda should not be in the police force based on his background. Simple as that. So you don't even know how many criminals that I have served in the police force, or how many are in it to this day. Thanks for watching the Jamaica Young Police channel. Please remember to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Have yourself a beautiful day. Jamaica Young Police channel out. And before I go, sorry to say out before, and I'll be coming with some very, very riveting information about the Klansman gang and police officers' role that they had played in the gang. One love.